Everyone thinks a mobile hotspot is just a glorified phone tether. But here's the thing, the Netgear Nighthawk M1 MR1100 can outperform a lot of newer, flashier options because it's Cat16 LTE with 4x4 MIMO, Ethernet offload, and dual-band Wi-Fi deliver consistency your phone can't. I know, it looks like an older device and the price makes you wince, but during my 2-week test, I hit speeds and stability that made me rethink the whole 5G or bust mindset. And I also found one gotcha that almost made me box it back up. Let's be real, the claims say up to 1 Gbps. Sounds like marketing fluff, right? I dug in to find out. Before we dive into what I discovered, quick heads up. If you're already leaning toward the M1 and want it at the best price, I dropped the link below. But stick around because the real-world results and that one caveat might save you money and headaches. Here's why I even needed this. I work remote, my cable internet is suspiciously moody, and I'm on the road a few times a month. I've burned through phone batteries tethering, I've tried cheaper hotspots that choke when more than 3 devices hop on, and I've sat in airbnb dead zones praying for a single bar. The emotional tax is real. A client call freezing, a live stream buffering, and a family movie night going pixel art because a hotspot can't hold a stable 20 Mbps. Skeptical but hopeful, I picked up the Netgear Nighthawk M1 MR1100 unlocked, rated 4 stars on Amazon, typically listed around $294.95, and decided to push it. Urban apartment as a home backup, a 4-hour road trip with car use, and a weekend in a cabin where service is optimistic. Testing phase, round 1, city speeds and stability. On an AT&T BYOD data plan using a micro SIM, midtown, 3 blocks from a tower, the M1 consistently pulled 180 to 320 Mbps down and 30 to 60 Mbps up, with latency around 25 to 35 ms. Dual-band 2.4 and 5 GHz Wi-Fi meant I could park my video calls on 5 GHz and smart home bits on 2.4. I connected 14 devices at once just to be rude: 2 laptops, 2 phones, a tablet, a TV, consoles, smart plugs, and it didn't flinch. But then I toggled Ethernet, plugged the M1's gigabit port into my home router with IP pass-through on, and it acted like a mini WAN. I ran Zoom, a 4K YouTube stream, and cloud backups for 3 hours. 0 drops. Here's where it gets interesting. Round 2, home internet outage simulation. I killed my cable, left the M1 as the only pipe. Through walls on 5 GHz, I clocked 80 to 120 Mbps in the office and 40 to 70 Mbps in the back room on 2.4 GHz. That's plenty for a household. Heat. It got warm, not alarming. One evening it sat pushing 150 to 200 Mbps for 2 straight hours without throttling, but then I made a mistake. I left it in a hot car during lunch, came back to a reboot, not a deal breaker, just a heads up, don't cook your hotspot. Round 3, the road and weak signal reality. On the highway, moving between towers, the M1 kept a solid hold. At the cabin, 40-ish miles from the nearest town, indoor speeds dipped to 8 to 15 Mbps down and 3 to 8 up on a single bar. Usable, not pretty. I snapped on a pair of TS9 paddle antennas and saw a bump to 18 to 28 down and 8 to 12 up. Not magic, but enough to go from barely streaming to stable HD. Battery life? Around 8 to 10 hours mixed use on Wi-Fi, closer to 5 to 6 hours when tethered via Ethernet and pushing heavy traffic. Overnight standby stretched into days. Round 4, management and usability. The 2.4-inch LCD gives you quick stats and data usage. The Netgear mobile app and web UI let you set passwords, bands, DHCP ranges, and IP pass-through. It supports full dual-band concurrent Wi-Fi 802.11a/b/g/n/AC, LTE Cat16 with 4-band carrier aggregation, and bands like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 12, 14, 29, 30, 66, plus 3G fallback if you end up in a time machine. But then I hit the caveat: plan compatibility. T-Mobile recently shuffled hotspot plans and some users can't authenticate unless they're on the right hotspot-specific plan. I tested AT&T without issues. If you're going T-Mobile, confirm your plan supports dedicated hotspots before buying. Here's the revelation that surprised me. The M1's value isn't the headline-grabbing 1 Gbps. It's the boring, beautiful consistency. Over 2 weeks, it beat phone tethering in range, device capacity, and sustained throughput. It also trumped some newer 5G hotspots I borrowed that swung wildly between 50 and 400 Mbps depending on the band and tower, with more random drops. With the M1, wired Ethernet into my router turned cellular into a reliable primary or backup connection that felt like fixed broadband. The older LTE tech with 4x4 MIMO and 4-band CA simply did what it said without drama. Compared to alternatives, the calculus is simple. A true 5G hotspot like the Nighthawk M5 or an Inseego 5G unit can cost 2 to 3 times more and may still lack a dedicated Ethernet port or charge extra for a dock. Cheaper LTE hotspots often cap device counts and lack dual-band concurrency or proper management tools. Phone tethering works in a pinch but drains battery, overheats, and can throttle after a few gigs. Is the M1 perfect? No, you won't see 1 Gbps in the wild. It can get warm. You must match the right plan and SIM. But at around 294.95 with a 4-star track record, it nails the price-to-reliability sweet spot for remote workers, RVers, and anyone who needs plug-and-play failover. Now that you know the M1's superpower is consistency plus that Ethernet backup trick, you'll want to grab it before prices swing or stock dries up on the unlocked version. I put the best current price in the description. And if you're on T-Mobile, double-check your hotspot plan first to avoid setup headaches. Bottom line, the Netgear Nighthawk M1 MR1100 is worth the extra money if you value stable speeds, Ethernet failover, and managing a bunch of devices without drama. Buy it if you work remotely, travel often, live with sketchy cable, or want a clean backup for your home router. Skip it if you only hotspot one device occasionally, live on Verizon-only coverage, or must have 5G bragging rights. Here's what nobody tells you: dependable LTE done right beats flaky 5G hype every day. That's the real win.